friends is this concept that I came up with laying in bed one night. I have all these close friends who have these wonderful stories that can help change the world, life experiences that can help other people believe in themselves, hold tight to their dreams and make their dreams reality. On Feeling Friends, we talk about God, we talk about love, relationships. I have celebrity friends, I have non-celebrity friends. I have church members, family members. But when you watch and listen to Feeling Friends, you will learn and you will laugh. It's a community of friends helping to build each other up. So tune in to Feeling Friends every Sunday on WHCR 90.3 FM, or you can catch me on YouTube at Feeling Friends Radio. All right, I'll see you there. WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. What's up, everybody? It's me, Phil, and I'm so happy to be back live on air with you, my friends. I'm here today with a friend that I've been knowing for a very, very long time. I think I was a young man when I met her. Future doctor. I want to go ahead, without further ado, welcome Angela Street to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Same stuff, different day, but always good stuff. So
good stuff. You've
always good stuff. That's right. Glad to be here.
I'm so glad to be here. You know, you're the only person I know in America who still wears white diamonds. You didn't think I was supposed to forget about that, did you?
See, you know, and when you put on that Jordan Musk, you smell amazing. Yeah.
That's like the joke we got going on. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. It's been a while since I seen you in person. We were at Horse and Dickie's.
Yes.
The restaurant in DC.
My brother's family-owned restaurant, Rashid Black and his family.
Yes. And so it's kind of a staple here in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area. So if you're ever in the area and you want to support a Black-owned business, they got good food and good fish.
They got good food and good fish, and we support all Black businesses. And it's so funny, businesses. It's right. So funny. We were talking about that because you had, I believe, with your sorority sisters, you all have a business thing that you all were doing, if I'm not mistaken, where you were supporting Black businesses in Maryland.
Oh, at that time, that was kind of mid-pandemic, and It was just something I was doing. Since I had just moved to the area in 2020. I said, well, let me kind of try to get out to all the Black businesses and record it and then be able to promote it and whatnot. And then that stopped for a little while. But yeah, I love to support the Black business in the area.
And that's what we do. But you're here, Angela. Go ahead and tell the people who you are before we just start talking like we know each other for a long time.
Right, exactly. Well, I've known Phil Anderson for about 20 years. He was a young man then, very bright, just had graduated not too long from Clark Atlanta University, and he was a bright leader. And I tend to gravitate towards people like myself. And so my friends, no matter where they went to school, they were in leadership on their campus one way or another. I ended up finding leaders for some kind of reason. And but I was actually born and raised in Wisconsin. People say, hey, Black folks live in Wisconsin. Yeah, me, my mom, and my daddy. But no, I live in southern Wisconsin, which is about 90 miles north of Chicago. Okay. And believe it or not, very, very diverse, more diverse than you probably ever imagined. But you know, Milwaukee, Racine, all those places that you've heard of, Kenosha before, very populated with Black people. So I grew up, my mother and father were educators. So my mother taught between 3rd and 5th grade always. My father was a 6th grade teacher and basketball coach, but they quickly found, this Black man knows how to control kids and he knows how to be a good person. They made him a principal within about 3 years of teaching. And so the majority of his career was an elementary school principal. So I'm the child of elementary educators. And so I spent my summers, you remember growing up, you had that paper with the dotted lines on them and you had to practice your letters. That was my summertime.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So
let me tell you, my mother was a teacher as well. Didn't you kind of hate that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm like, let me just be free.
Right, exactly. Oh, my mom, how do you spell? Sound it out.
Yeah, sound it out. Go look it up.
Sound it out. Yeah, they wouldn't give you a piece of information for anything, right? So anyway, but my father went to Lane College, HBCU in Jackson, Tennessee, And being in Wisconsin, we weren't exposed to many HBCUs. And so my father was adamant about taking us on an HBCU tour, myself and my two sisters. And we went on an HBCU tour. And I knew in eighth grade I wanted to go to Tennessee State University. When I was there, I said, I am coming here.
Really?
I want to come back. It was just something that I felt. And I applied there. I did apply to Clark Atlanta.
Hmm.
I don't even remember if I got in or not.
You probably did.
But went to Tennessee State. And when I interview for things or have conversations with people and they say, what's the best decision you ever made in your life? I say, going to Tennessee State University.
I hear
So,
that about everyone who's gone to Tennessee State. They love it. That's great.
yes, yes,
A
yes,
lot of
yes,
great
yes.
people come through TSU. It's a fairly big institution, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've had our challenges over the last couple of years, but I mean, at one point we were sort of in the size range of like FAMU and A&T when they were smaller, of course, Alabama State. So it's in that range.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing to go to the HBCU. And shout out to your dad, who is also a member of the greatest fraternity in the
Yes,
world.
he is.
He's with the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So shout out to Brother Street and the great work. I'm sure he's really made a huge difference, and your mom as well.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about that family life of you growing up in Wisconsin. I don't know Wisconsin for like cheese. Is that what y'all known for?
Cheese and beer.
Cheese and beer, cheese and beer. Uh,
Hmm.
so what was that family structure like? I know faith is a huge part of your life.
Yeah, yeah. So, one thing about my hometown in Wisconsin, just like a lot of Midwest areas, the Great Migration, people came from the South and they came to places like Indianapolis, Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, places like that. And they came because they were working in steel mills and factories and all of that. So a good bit of my friends and some family and whatnot, you either did two things, which were the signs of success, so to speak. You worked for General Motors or Chrysler, that was success,
Mm-hmm.
or you worked in education,
Right.
right? You could have a Cadillac if you worked in one of those professions,
Absolutely.
right? So that was sort of like the height of success. So my friends, parents were, factory workers and whatnot. My parents were educators, but as far as church was concerned, grew up in a Baptist church. I don't know anything else. My grandfather, chairman of the deacon board, was a part of the deacon board when that church was built. So his name is on the side of the church yet and
Of course.
still. Yes.
Is
And
that
then
your mom's side or your dad's side?
what my mom's.
Okay.
But then my dad became a deacon. I think I was 3,
Mm.
and they built a family life center connected to it. And my father was the chairman during that time, so my dad's name is on the other side of the church. So on both sides of the church is my grandfather and my father's name on the walls. And so with that, I started this legacy foundation for my church to make sure that the church continues to thrive for years to come. And so we do restoration projects every year and new things to keep the church maintained and keep going. So, I was the founder of that. And
What's the
so,
name of this legacy organization that you started?
New Baptist Church Legacy
Say it
Foundation,
again, Beulah.
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, you broke up a little bit. Well, that's
Hmm.
powerful. It's so funny you say that. And I mentioned before I'm here. My background is different because I'm at a church conference in the
Hmm.
theology school, and we talk about the Black church and keeping the legacy.
Hmm.
But we also today I attended a session that talked about churches going digital with this new age of our generation, not actually wanting to go into the buildings, and so a lot of churches are falling apart because that our parents' generation and above, they went to church every Sunday, they went Wednesday. We're like, okay, I need to log on to the computer. So, what's the importance of keeping the legacy of the Black church? And now we're gonna pivot. We're gonna have pivot a lot, y'all. Just roll
Yeah,
with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Of
Mhm.
keeping the Black church and keeping that community, um, that community within each other. Is that important? And why is that important?
It is, but I will say that as the world changes, so does the church, right? The word doesn't change. The word will never change, but people, position, innovation, all of those things move with the world. And so there was a time when churches were intense, then they went into buildings, and then there were, so there's opportunity for God to be able to reach his people in different mediums, but fellowship is important, right?
Yeah.
And there's the point of having connection to God is not just so you can get something from him and that's it. There's something for you to offer. You need to be able to use your gift for the body of Christ. So you sitting at home with your cereal in your lap, listening to online service every morning is okay,
Mhm.
right? To a certain degree. But what about fellowship, and bringing everyone together, witnessing when people give their life to Christ, and witnessing when people are going through baptism. So the community and the relationship is so important in fellowship to the church. So we have to figure out how to get back to that, but also know that we're living in a hybrid environment now.
And we need to adjust.
Mhm.
We have to adjust. We have to
Absolutely.
make room for new things, and we have to make room for the older generation to really connect with the younger generation as well and work together. To
Hmm.
and I say that because faith has made you've gone through some tremendous things in your life.
Hmm.
I don't know if you want to share.
Sure, 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 sure.
I remember one time you called me. You said, "Phil, I don't think I would have been here." I don't know if you remember that a couple years. I mean, you
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
recent situation that just happened, but I know it's the faith that it's just not our faith, but it's the faith from your grandfather and your grandmothers, faith from
Absolutely.
your dad and your mom, and I think that's what we hold on to. You want to talk about that and how you push through that
Sure,
and where you are today?
sure, sure. Well, several things besides that, of course. So, that I'd be here all day if I were to tell you all the things that, I've been through. But, physically, I was having a lot of problems with swallowing and like acid reflux and whatnot. And so they were doing, a lot of sending scopes down my throat and things, trying to see what was wrong. So they decided as a part of that to take out my gallbladder and do some other things, and went into the hospital with the intention of only spending the night one night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and ended up spending the night, had a very terrible night in the hotel, but they sent me home anyway the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, in the middle of the night, about the day later, my incisions all, excuse the TMI, but all busted.
Really?
So I had septic poisoning inside my body.
Wow.
And I didn't know it at the time. I just know I felt like this is the end. Like there's a sickness that you cannot describe where you feel like I don't have nothing left. So the
Wow.
ambulance came, lo and behold. And as soon as we got there, this was Christmas Eve. The doctor said we have to take you in immediately,
Mm.
and they called in an emergency team, and they say your entire body is filled with
Wow.
septic poison. So I had a 3-hour surgery. What happened was the physician, excuse me, did not sew up the incision as tight as he should have.
Really?
So I didn't pay for anything, right? But I ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks with just pain, unbelievable. Off work for a while, but I'm here,
Yeah.
and I survived body poisoning.
And somebody didn't make it from that, but you here.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I think it's those moments like that that remind us that God is still with us and that we have a purpose.
Yeah.
We have a real purpose. Did your life change after that? Did you look at life differently?
I did. I looked at limitations. I had a sensitivity to people because at a time I had a sister that was disabled. She has passed on now, but I became more sensitive to people needing like the disabled stickers and stuff to drive,
Mhm.
because I would need it because I needed to get as close as I could because it was hard for me to walk.
Yeah.
So you think about even going to the bathroom in a
Mhm.
public place, and you know how the larger stalls are for people.
Mhm.
You bypass them, and when one point in life you just would have went in them. Now I'm very sensitive to like, no, somebody's gonna need that.
Accessibility things, yeah.
Yeah, you're just more cognizant of disability when you have gone through disability.
I think that's what's wrong with America. We're
Mhm.
so about ourselves, and we don't.
Mhm.
And I believe that back in the day, people, especially black people, used to look out for each other. But now that you, like you said, you got your Cadillac and your house on the hill,
Mhm.
GM now. I got my furs. We don't look out for the next person. And I think once we get back to what we call the manner principle, where we all look out for each other, I think we'll be in a better space. Because
Mhm.
now we're in, yeah, but yeah, so not to keep talking, but yeah, that's a
No.
powerful thing, the way you look at life. And I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah. Yeah. I had that. That faith is a real thing where um you've just seen him do it before,
Hmm.
and that belief, you have some fear, which you shouldn't, right? You have your moments where the devil kind of gets in and reminds you of that time that it didn't work out,
Right, right.
right? But I just knew he could do it.
You can do it. And
Yeah.
I think we're just human, and we just fear stuff because we just don't know a lot of things. We just don't know.
Yeah, because it didn't work out for somebody, so you think, well, why would it work out for me?
Hmm.
Like, but I knew I had more in this life.
Is your
And
faith stronger now?
it is. It is. I don't think I was tithing during that
Mm-hmm.
time of my life. And I am a tither now, and I have been for probably 7 or 8 years. And I was years before that and had stopped. You know how people you stop because you want just a little bit more in your pocket.
But you know what's so crazy? You've said a lot of things to me. You told me that recently.
Did I?
Yes, you did. You said just start tithing, Phil.
Yeah.
You told me that. You know, we talk all the time randomly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Start tithing. And I'll never forget that because I'm preaching, I'm ushering, I'm doing everything for the Lord. But that was one thing area that I struggled in. And I'm like, well, God, teach me how to, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to be broke again. And that faith of tithing is really a discipline. It's really an act.
It's
It's
mhm.
just an act. Like you give everything else to the Lord, and why He can give you everything.
Mhm.
Literally, you worried about a $200. Like, are you serious right now? And I think that's the faith you got to roll on. Like, yo, yeah, I gave 160, or yeah, I gave 200. Guess what? God can give me everything, and He can open up, and it becomes a practice where you just know because we usher, right? You usher at your church down there in
I'm
DC.
a greeter.
You're
Mhm.
oh, excuse me, you're a greeter.
Mhm.
That's a
Mhm.
part of tithing too. You know,
Mhm.
it's a part of tithing, and I think that it changes the dynamic. And I think once you just start, and people who are listening, if you tithe and not worry about the preacher getting his Bentley off your little money,
Yeah.
but give it to God and let it go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
and think about it in the ways of, if you go to a church that you enjoy
mm-hmm.
and you want it to be innovative,
Yep.
you want to have a intelligent, vibrant pastor,
Mm-hmm.
you want to have a nice facility, you want to have good programs. Well, who gonna pay for it?
Who gonna pay for it?
Who gonna
Because
pay
the
for
thing
it?
is, the black folk, if they got it, they need to pay for it.
Yeah.
So those are
You
uneducated Christians. Those are babes in Christ. They got it. Why we got to pay for it? God,
right,
who's to pay?
right,
You don't go to Capitol Grill and say, "Oh, let me get that steak without paying for it." You don't go get your hair done without paying for it. You don't go.
right.
Why would you not go to the church where you worship and serve, and why not give
Right.
it to the Lord?
My dad, he has a real funny sense of humor, but real serious at the same time.
Uh,
He said, "They out here eating these crab legs.
uh,
Yeah, y'all go and get that crab, boy. You can pay some money to the
you can pay some money. That's the chairman of the deacon board.
yeah. They eating them crab legs.
You pay for count that money. You're like,
right, right.
that's so cool, and I thank you for that. And keep telling people, keep giving those people those nuggets like you do me, because people even who work in faith need those moments
Mhm.
that they transform. The way you think. You just never know how you never know in your journey of life. You never know how you're imparting wisdom on somebody. So you have to me
Sure.
times.
I appreciate that.
As a black woman in leadership is what you are. We're going to get to what you do.
Mhm.
We look at Kamala Harris. We look at all these Michelle Obama. We look at all these black women who are powerful, who have a voice, who can make a difference, and they don't get the opportunity, and they're shut out by this white patriarchal, society in which we live, where black women are not capable and they are not able. When we know that black women are more than capable and able, because not only did they raise white children in America, they held down the black family, their family, and they are the most. You all are the most educated group in America. What do you say to those who want to limit black women, and what do you say to the women who want to feel empowered and be empowered and just don't know what to do?
We are in power, and we haven't limited ourselves. We are the ones who are the most educated of all demographics, and so I think we need to rewrite the narrative of. I think about it like the Academy Awards. When we complain when, let's say, Queen Latifah or Jennifer Hudson or whoever else doesn't win, so
Yeah.
to speak, and the majority of those folks choosing those award winners don't look like them, so they don't understand the Southern culture and the
Yeah.
Southern drawl and all those things that made those characters great.
Mhm.
Why do you need that cadre of people to tell you you're amazing?
Mm.
Right. And I think we far too long needed the approval to say that y'all are great. And here's the standard of excellence.
Yeah.
There is no, you don't get to tell me what excellent is.
Mm.
So for me, I'm probably the most unaffected person when it comes to all of this Trump stuff. And
Mm.
when I say unaffected, I mean I expect people to be themselves all the time.
And you know who you are.
Yeah.
You just know who you are. And you know whose you are.
Yeah. And you don't like me because I'm brown. That's weird.
That's your problem.
Yeah. So I'm still going on vacation. I'm
Hmm.
still working. I'm still doing all the things that God has blessed me to do. I just am not concerned that I am disliked by people, a large sector of people who
Hmm.
have just chosen to disenfranchise or dislike or separate from. I
Have
don't
you
care.
always been like that?
Yes.
That comes with the. That's just what's your birth sign? What is that? What's
Cancer.
okay? Y'all like that though. Yeah, yeah. But I think
Yeah.
with a lot, it comes with training too. It comes with actually knowing who you are, especially for young
Yeah.
people. You have to know. Like you said, your meter of success does not concern me. I could care less about what you think.
Mm-mm, that doesn't do anything for me. I'm not
Yeah.
offended.
Hmm.
If I'm in a workspace
Hmm.
and there's some disadvantage for me, I'm going to speak on the disadvantage.
Right.
But getting an A
Hmm.
from another community don't do nothing for me.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I roll too. But
But I,
I'm real eccentric with and the cuss words in there. But yeah.
maybe this will help you.
Mhm.
I was always I'm not competitive
Okay.
at all.
Uh-huh.
So I would let people win in a card game because I don't care.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's
It-
what it
that's what it is. It's just like, oh, okay.
is.
Y'all need to win, huh?
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and put this Uno over here on your side
Yeah.
because this is really bothering
Because
you.
you're gonna start crying and it's not gonna be everywhere.
And
Hey,
I'm gonna sleep fine drawing four.
because I'll be
Yeah.
mad as hell. I'll be like, why she beat me
Don't
again?
care. Don't care.
Yeah, that's so funny. You have and I love that you have a love for HBCUs like I do.
Sure.
And I want to go into what you do and how you can help us. We have this thing now where it's a target on DEI, anything that focuses on the empowerment of people. What's the significance of the HBCU in America and just the fiber that we just bring to America?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're still at a point to where separation to a certain degree has benefited us to
Mhm.
where we have strived in places that culturally there are cultural norms
Mm-hmm.
and things that people can identify with.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen in America how that is more difficult in spaces where we are the minority.
Mm-hmm.
So that's portion of the reason as to why it's still important, because we're still dealing with racism and this racial divide, to where HBCUs, when I was at Tennessee State University, I forgot I was black.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you just don't.
No, what do you mean you forgot you were black? Tell me what that
Yeah,
means.
I forgot that black was minority.
Mm.
I forgot that I was disadvantaged or whatever else, because I was in this oasis of all
Empowerment.
things
Yeah.
black
Your point.
excellence,
Yeah.
different types of black. There's diversity within the HBCU. People come from high income, low income,
In between.
south, north,
Uh,
international students, everything. But the relevance of HBCUs, I think we still have a lot of work to do.
mhm.
I think the enrollment of HBCUs, it has gone up. It's really going to go up now.
Oh yeah.
And we need one another, because there's work we still have to do to empower the youth of tomorrow,
Mhm.
and further advance the work we need to do. So,
I believe that's good. Let's get into your current career
okay.
and
Yeah.
EAB. Let's talk about that. Tell us exactly what you do now.
Yes. So I work for a higher education K through 12 best practices research firm.
Okay.
Also has a technology division. It's headquartered in Washington, D.C. And for the best way to describe, I'm director of research advisory services. So I have responsibilities to advise college cabinet leaders. So right now I work with chief advancement officers, helping them, with their fundraising and alumni relations work. And I also work with chief diversity officers and vice presidents of student affairs. And so
Okay.
I help them in what we call decision support.
Hmm.
So if, let's say, today, having conversations about this dear colleague letter with the, Department of Education and all of the 57 executive orders that are happening,
Yeah.
they call upon us to ask us, what do we do? Right? What's our next move? And so I advise them on how to
Oh,
move forward and what decisions that they need to be making for their institutions.
so you're like the third party stakeholder. You just advise, right? That's what. That's what.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
so. I never thought. I never knew that that was a thing. And I worked in advancement at Clark and
mhm,
Yale right after.
mhm, mhm.
That's so powerful that we need to.
Yeah, internally you can kind of know the ABCs of what to do, but there are things that are happening outside of your institution that you need to know how other people are doing the work.
Yes.
And
And this is
so,
a problem because, I was having a conversation with my frat brothers. He said we HBCUs we circulate, we recycle each other. So it's the
mhm.
same thing that happens at TSU is going on at Clark or where, and we have to innovate. And I
And
think
we
that's
don't answer the
it.
phone. I
You
don't
know,
even answer the
I
phone.
emailed this director 3 times and they still have not emailed me back. Student government president, former board of trustee member. I have not gotten an email back. So it's these things, and I'm not a huge fundraiser, but I'm a fundraiser, right? On the way to be these small things that impact us that we need to work on. I don't know. I don't want to get sidebar or sidetrack.
That's a
Sidetrack.
whole nother conversation for a whole nother day.
But it's these small things. Answer the phone. Hire somebody to
Exactly.
answer the phone. Hire a kid on campus to answer the phone, or hire,
Exactly.
a
Well,
move.
Tennessee State, I will say, has a call center now.
Tennessee
So
State.
as a call center, so they worked on that, and as one of the areas that they were having troubles with. So maybe everybody needs a call center. I don't
I'm going to refer you to my alma mater.
know.
They're
Got
getting
you.
better, but I think we can get some more work done. Let's get into mental health.
Yes.
Um, you all have the collaboration. Why is this component so important? And it's a huge thing. And yeah.
Yeah. So and I'm not speaking for the company that I work for by any means, but so I'll speak more generally about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Um, mental health is rising really to the number one reason
Mm-hmm.
as to why students are leaving college now. It was and still is to a certain degree finances, but actually students are actually taking out less money to go to college than they were even 10 years ago.
I
And
believe
so,
that because I think a lot of these students, I used to be a former college counselor. I've had
mhm,
jobs. They were getting full rides. We weren't getting full rides like that.
right,
We had to pay.
exactly.
So yeah, yeah, that's
So, and they're shopping institutions for
mhm.
that package, or, they're shopping deals. And so, mental health really is that. And so, um, there's a lot of things that attribute to it, but for college students in particular, um, there's just so many, and this could be for all adults too, but so many arrows being thrown at them at one time. You got to have an internship, and you got to be in a sorority, and you got to be, and all of those things that were the case when we were in undergrad. But there's pressure to do those things now.
Because is it because of the social media? You're not a mental health professional, but is it because of the social media?
Social media contributes to that. It's you got to look a certain way. You got to wig, you got to have your lashes, you got to have this. There's just so many things of who you should be, and what a guy should do for you, and who you should be for. There's just too much influence into sort of making people into what they should be,
Right.
right? So like that affects your mental health,
And
so to speak.
it's sad for these students because that's their entire like social media came out. We were pretty much grown by the time and so that's their entire life. That's what they believe in. That's what they do, and so it's consuming them, and it's hard to let that go. Uh,
Yeah,
let's get
but
it. Go ahead.
yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
was
Go ahead.
gonna say, but in turn, what I talk to people about is needing to teach coping and resilience,
Mm,
because sometimes it's not that I have anxiety, it's
mhm.
that I had an anxious moment,
Okay.
which is different.
Okay. I see you got some.
Right. So, when you claim anxiety,
Mhm.
that's something that carries with you every day. You can say, oh, well, I had anxiety, and that's
Right.
why. And I'm not trying to minimize that, but we have created this culture of
Yes, we
anxiety,
have.
so to speak. When guess what? You are going to be apprehensive about something,
Yeah.
you know?
And and I don't know the word for it, but a lot of people are just soft. The kids are just
Yeah.
they're not like, oh, listen, we had to deal with bullies and all kind of stuff. Listen, we're gonna fight this out, or we're gonna talk,
Yeah.
or we're gonna move on. We dealt with it. People still have probably anxiety from that, but we had to deal with it in our own way. And our parents were like no punks either. I think I
Right.
was around the same age. It's like, listen, you have to deal with it, get over it, go talk to people,
Exactly.
figure
Keep
it
it
out.
moving.
We need that resilient spirit that you
That's
talk.
right.
What are some final HBCUs? I want to get back to that. What are like top three things that they need to focus on and helping um, build that?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost is probably a given,
Mhm.
is rethinking advancement and fundraising, so to speak, and in a way in which pitching it to where you show what the true individual needs are on campus, instead of asking to put money in a big pot, right? People don't give um, as much when you just say, send me some money.
Mhm.
Is it, send me some money for this arts building that's going to do X, what kind of impact is it going to make?
Okay.
People want to know that the money I gave you
Mhm.
did this, did
Okay.
X,
Okay.
right?
That makes
So
sense.
I think thinking differently about asking for money, number one, and there's plenty of money. We're the highest spenders
We
almost in the country.
Yeah, we are.
Um, but as a culture, we're not philanthropists.
Right.
And so there's something that I think we need to teach as pre alumni
Mhm.
on giving and how the institution really runs,
Mhm.
and how your dollars matter and why. So I
Absolutely.
think education around advancement is necessary. Um, I also think, hmm, some of those issues, I think there can be challenge with not hiring the right way. I think sometimes we hire who used to be the SGA,
Yeah.
something,
They need a job.
my cousin,
Of
you know, whatever else, versus people that have master's degrees
Yes.
in these particular professions who are coming in, understanding the theory behind why we're making these decisions. I think that can be problematic sometimes. Um, and I know we have a lot of deferred maintenance, but that's tied to finances.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we can get our campuses back up to par, you know, visual wise, then I think we'd be in a good shape as well. That's one. That's three of many, right?
Many, but I think that's a good start. Is the donation part, which we always talk about, and yeah, I think all three of those are really good.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah,
I think what you're
absolutely.
doing is an amazing job. I didn't know the full extent of what you did. I'm going to refer you to a lot of people now. People
Well, come on.
need to know you and what you're doing. They need to.
Well, tell them I'm here.
You might need to go to churches too. You might need to extend your stuff to certain churches. It's almost in sync. You don't scratch your head, but
Listen, I feel like it. The Lord, He know I'm tired. He not gonna ask me to do nothing else. But let me tell you, He asked me to be in this um, college and career choir on the next Sunday, and I wasn't expecting to do that. But I said, okay, Lord, just send me. I'll go.
he gonna send me. I'll go, and he gonna bless you. You never
Yeah,
know.
He is.
You never know. He gonna bless you.
He is.
Listen, you've been a great guest. I've really been empowered today. Listen, and I hope somebody else is empowered. Give us some final thoughts for our audience today that they can take away.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I would just say, um, you know, character is everything. Who you are, who people can trust. You know, being reliable, being true to yourself. Um, you know, you got one life that you don't know how much time you borrowed, right? And recently, this past summer, I went to Africa. That was on my bucket list because I didn't want to leave this world not having gone to where we originally came from.
Yeah.
So be serious about your vision board
Mhm.
and make a step every month closer to whoever it is that you want to be and what you want to be. Because if it came to you in your mind, that means that God gave it to you, and that He'll help you to see it through. So live your life and live more abundantly.
Yeah. I'm taking notes right now. I'm taking notes for my son.
Yes, that's what he came that I might have life and have it more abundantly.
Oh, thank you, Lord.
Yes, He did. We
And we
thank
need to continue to live in that spirit. And I thank you for coming on the show, and I thank you for always giving me pieces of nuggets
That's
to bless
right.
me. I want you to keep doing that because you never know who you're gonna touch. Hold tight for me in the right room. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Go for us. All right.
All right.
I want to say thank you to my guest, Angela Street. What an amazing person. Go ahead and remember that faith can change everything. Like she told us, she used her faith, it changed her life, and I hope it changes yours. You're watching Phil and Friends right here on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.